Right, I'm having to salvage parts now, which is a thing I don't really like doing, but these are a sort of offset, so you can only put them on one way, and the little raised lip goes towards the top. That's easy. Try and get this on without splitting it, and I think these are kind of expensive for what they are, these little covers. Alright, yeah, it's a bit manky underneath, but there's nothing much I can do about it because I ain't got one. Then this metal cover goes on the top, because this rubber acts like a gasket anyway. I'm talking about gaskets. I tried to take the gasket off this one, but it split. I haven't got any gaskets for that either. It's not a sort of thing you take apart all that often. So I'm going to use the old one. I don't like doing it, but I'll put a bit of grease on it. But I just can't stop a project just for one stupid little gasket. So we'll put some grease on it and it should be good. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll put the gasket on this unit here, look like this. It's only to stop water getting in, there's no pressure. You could actually use a bit of silicone if you wish. And then it all assembles like this. Now it is a bit tricky because you've got to get 3 or 4 pieces in at the same time. So we'll just start these screws up. That's not starting off right. That's better. I don't usually like robbing one part to make another, but sometimes we've got no choice. Again, don't tighten all the screws down until you've got them all located, if you see what I mean. And of course these only need a nip, they don't need sort of like big torque wrenches on or anything like that. Just use common sense on these bits. There we go, that's how much it's getting. There, with that done, and that's nice and free and it's all working again, we'll put the O-ring back onto here that we took off. Well, we'll put a new one on, I think. Yeah, let's put a new one on. Again, a bit of grease. Try not to cut the O-ring on those splines. There we go, and that should set into that little recess. There she goes. That's it. Now, grease. Unfortunately, there's like no way you can grease these up, but like I say, they do seize up in this bushing here. It's notorious, so grease doesn't splash around or anything like that, but well, if we can prevent water getting into any of the exposed metal parts, because some are plated and some are not, that's going to be alright. Yeah. Right, let's get cleaned up and let's have a look at this other piece. I think we'll use this unit to strip down because it's the sort of semi-cleanest. I don't want to strip this one down because it's all nice and clean and it's all assembled. So we'll show you how this one comes apart. So what we need to do is take that little unit off here. Probably don't need it if we're going to put it on an R380, but I've got some LT77s kicking about, so there we go, that's that off. The next thing we're going to do is take this unit off here. We'll even strip this down, how's that? What a treat, eh? Just gets better and better, doesn't it? Now there's some shims behind here, do not lose them. Right, let's get this screw out. See how I knew? There were some little shims there. We'll take this apart in a minute. But why do we take that apart? Because it gives us opportunity now to take this roll pin out of here. Now, we could actually back this off, this screw here, and gives us good access to get all the way around this. Yeah, I think we're going to have to. Right, let's unscrew this. There we go. You can usually get a rough idea where these screws go because it's usually rusty on the outside. There's the screw, we'll put that back on here. Trying to keep things together as assemblies, you know what I mean? Right, we'll put that on later. Next thing, need to get a punch to punch this roll pin out of here. It's going to be tricky to film, but tap this roll pin out if you can. Is it going to come off? Is it buggery? I need a pair of pliers. There are locking pliers on this pin, will sort of get it out, and there you go, it's out. Again, don't lose it. Now that will move. There are two types of fastenings on this selector piece here. The later ones have got a grub screw. The earlier ones have got a 17mm spanner on them. Oh, is it 17 or 15? Could be a 15. Yep, it's a 15. Take that bolt out. There we go. That's that off. That's that off. Now this, if I take my pin out, the shaft should come out of here. So what I wanted to show you was there's a tricky little O-ring on here, and you can see by the corrosion on this shaft how water has got underneath this unit here and rusted that shaft up. Yeah, that's in a bad shape. I'm going to clean this up and we'll have a look at it. This shaft has had a hard life. It's been corroded, the finish has gone. I'm not going to use this is too far gone. While we're waiting for the pieces to dry, I just took them out of the vapor blaster and I just want to dry them off. I thought we'd have a look at this place. I've just put this through the vapor blaster too, but so it's a bit wet. But this goes on the reverse. Is it reverse? Yeah, this goes on the reverse. So what we're going to do is have a look inside it. So first of all, on our vise, it's here somewhere. Here we are. Take that off there. God, I've got to have a tidying up here shortly. Oops. Grab the body. 24mm spanner. Undo it. Now, notice I just backed it off. I'm not taking it off all the way because I want to keep that setting. Oops, just moved it there, but it doesn't really matter. And now I've got to answer the phone. Right, where were we? Somebody wanting Series 1 parts. Gearbox parts. Yeah, I've got loads of them. So we're getting to the exciting bit. Take this piece off. What's inside? A spring. Now, this is why you've got to be careful when you clean stuff up, because you think you've got it clean, but you haven't really. Look, you can see how mucky that is inside. Now, let's switch angles and we'll go and have a look at the bench. Next thing we've got to do is tap it like Terry's chocolate orange. Ah, there it is. There's a steel ball in there. I knew that. Now we've got to get this pin out. Might have to tighten that in the vise just a second. Oh yeah, that's going to come out. So there's a piston. Now I can't get it out. And this is what one of the problems of these things were a notoriously bad idea. And there's another spring. Look, a heavier spring. I'm going to clean all these pieces up and let's have a look at them. So I got a bit sidetracked. Jim and Jerry and everybody's been down today. What happens is this, that when you select reverse, this goes this way, but it's held. This is held in by this ball and spring arrangement, if you can see here, well, that's fine, that's all well and good, but it's a kind of a deep notch for a ball to be in, like a hardened steel ball. And what happens is it develops on here a lip like this, because it's banging about, if you see what I mean, and that causes it to stick in this housing like this. You see, I've already freed it out, but sometimes you can't get the bloody things out. So that's all it does. It's just like a lock, you know, just so when this pin pushes this way, there's some pressure, so when the spring's alleviated of its pressure, the other spring pushes down here and locks this into place. It can't really move until you hit it into reverse and push it here. I think that's the easiest way to explain it. Even if you'll get it right to me and explain it to me. So, I'm going to put some grease on. Now I haven't put the spring in yet, don't worry, because I'm just trying it around and make sure it's alright. That's good. Oops, that's bad. Put some grease in there. Put the spring in there so that it doesn't drop out. Grease is great for holding things into place, as you've probably already found out. And then put some grease in here. Put the ball in. Put the spring in. Put the cap on. Now, like I said, this is the reason why I didn't adjust the cap. Well, after a lot of messing about, I found out that this wasn't working at all. It was still jamming up. So what I did was, I put it in the chuck of the drill press, polished the outside, and also chamfered off this edge a little bit. It was too square. What was happening is, when the ball comes down and sits in there, well, it can't ride up and down. It was just jamming in that groove, if you see what I mean, like Bob Marley. So let's put some grease on. Let's drop it in and see if we can get it together this time. I don't know. Yeah, what a bad idea. You know, it's like an over-engineered piece of rubbish. I know our Land Rover's the same, but you know. Now, let's go to the vise and let's have a look. What does it do now? See, that's what it should do. Before it was locking in. Now, obviously, you can adjust the tension. Yeah, that's nice. So that's done. Did you see that? There's a plastic bush in here where the gear shift goes onto. This ball goes into this socket here. They are kind of common for them to break, but they're easy to change. There's a circlip at the bottom. Simply take off the circlip and push the bushing out and replace it. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to finish washing this out, and then we'll start to assemble this up. Well, I seem to be having some camera issues today. Right, so where did we get to? There's been nothing else but problems, batteries and all sorts of things today. Bushing into the housing, circlip pliers, put your thumb over the end so it doesn't go flying, snap it down, job done. Next thing, I took a file to the end of here and took the burr off this shaft. That was the thing that was preventing this coming on, off, not on. Check it. Nice. Alright, so that's good. I'm going to put some grease on the shaft. Now again, you should really replace the O-ring, but this shaft's so bad, this is just going to be my spare unit. And then we're going to just drop it through, just, like that. Make sure it's nice and free. And then we're going to drop the circlip pliers on the floor and find out where I put the ball. Got a little taper on the end. I'll get it started somehow. And then I'm going to pull this back. We're going to grab hold of this unit here and we're going to fit this in its proper direction. The direction being this piece here, get out of it, is close to the gear stick. You see what I mean? And that is a bit tight, but it's going to go on. There we go. And we just make sure it works. Find the roll pin and just tap it into place. Which is easier said than done. There's a punch. Always handy a set of punches. These were cheap as chips. That's working. That's good. We're happy for once. Next. So we've seen how this one works, and this is going to be my spare. So we'll put that to one side, and we'll jump onto the one that we're actually going to keep. This is the one off the 300 TDI. Again, another difference is I noticed at the back on the LT77 type gearboxes, there's a place here for the reverse switch. On this one it's not drilled and tapped, so that's why they're no good. Right, next thing, what do we need? We need our shifter. We need lots of grease in here. Lots of grease in there. Where's the gasket gone? New gasket. We're going to just put some grease on here because there's no point putting a sealer on. It just doesn't really get all that bad. So we'll get some more grease, we'll put it around the shaft, just round here to stop it going rusty. That shaft's going to sort of wear off, but we'll just use the grease as a rust preventative, did I say? Now we've got to work out which way this goes on. I think it goes on like that. Oh, no paper towel. Oh. Yep. That into there. So put the socket in. I might have to move this. This is a bit tricky because it keeps moving. Now I know that you can buy those quick shift things. This is the same thing, you just got to change a few parts. It'll nip down. Just a tiny nip. That's all it needs. Next thing, we're going to put our shifter on for the high and low. Get a new gasket. Again, put some grease on. Grease will soften up the gasket, and so once it's soft, once the paper's soft, it'll get into any nooks and crannies of the paper, you know, like of the aluminium casting, and make it seal a bit better. Oh. Which way does that go? There we go. There we go. And then we'll put lots of grease in here. There we go. Note to self, get some paper. And then we can take our housing, our shifter, and just drop it on. Like that. There we go. Are they easy to do? Well, they're easy to do when nobody keeps coming every 5 minutes. But in this next video we'll put this on and we'll adjust up the gearbox for the shift, and then we're ready to go for that, putting the gearbox in. Hopefully.